A 27-year-old boy who has not had a chance to put his life together, but now he is given a second chance to look 10 years younger by taking a pill. Hello guys, welcome to the Animo Time channel. For today's video, we are going to go to a well-made and popular anime called Real Life. The story is about a 27-year-old boy named Kaizaki who has just been fired from his job, and when he thinks it can't get any worse, his mother calls him and tells him that I won't give you any more money because you are 27 years old and you have to stand on your own feet. Meanwhile, everything is ruined for Kaizaki. He finds a stranger who knows everything about him. He tells him that you were fired and your mom doesn't pay you anymore. Kaizaki, completely surprised and angry, asks that person who you are. That strange man says my name is Rio, and I have come to you on behalf of Real Life Laboratory. Rio tells Kaizaki that you were chosen by the lab. Kaizaki asks what I was chosen for, which Rio tells him that this test will last for 1 year and during this time all your living expenses will be paid, and according to the test result, you may be hired at the end. Kaizaki says what should I do? Rio says that all you need to do is take this pill. Rio says that with this pill, you can become a teenager again and fix the mistakes you made in your life. Since Kaizaki has nothing to lose, he accepts. The next morning comes and Kaizaki wakes up. The first thing he does is look in the mirror, and is surprised to see that he has become young again, and now has the face of a 17-year-old young man. Then Rio gives him a contract and says that you have to sign this contract. Rio also tells him that you have to go to high school in this 1-year period. In the next scene, we see Kaizaki going to school and sitting in the last seat of the class. A girl named Hishiro comes to Kaizaki and tells him that you sat in my seat. Kaizaki apologizes and gets up from there. During the class, the teacher comes to Kaizaki and when she looks in his bag, she finds a pack of cigarettes. The teacher gets very angry about this and tells Kaizaki to come to my office after class. The class ends and when Kaizaki wants to go home, his teacher stops him and says that you were supposed to come to my office. Kaizaki's teacher talks to him and advises him not to smoke anymore. When Kaizaki is on his way home, Ryu suddenly comes and tells him that I have to keep an eye on you and write a report at the end of the year. Ryo asks Kaizaki about school and how does it feel to go back to school after a long time. Kaizaki says that it was very silly and not good at all. Ryo explains and says that this test was created so that people who are left behind from their own lives have a second chance to fix their lives. The next day at school, the teacher announces the grades. Oji Kazuomi got the highest score among the boys, and among the girls, Hishiro got the highest score. When Kaizaki looks at his score sheet, he sees that he failed all of them. It's lunchtime and a girl named Onoya tells Kaizaki that if you like, we can have lunch together. Kaizaki is skeptical at first, because the age difference between him and his classmates is still strange to him, but finally he accepts. In the cafeteria, Kaizaki notices that Hishiro has no food. He goes to her and asks why you don't have food, to which Hishiro says, I forgot to bring any money with me today. Kaizaki gives her money and says take your food with this. Hishiro is surprised at first, but since she has no food, she agrees and says that I will definitely return it to you tomorrow. Next scene we see Hishiro talks to Kaizaki. She tells Kaizaki that I don't have any close friends and asks Kaizaki am I so unapproachable? Kaizaki says very frankly that yes you are. Then he says that I think it will be better if you smile sometimes. Hishiro smiles and says it's good like this. Kaizaki also says to forget the smile strategy because her smile is so weird. Then Kaizaki tells her not to worry at all. You will find good friends in time. Meanwhile, we see Ryu listening to Kaizaki's words. After school, Ryo calls Kaizaki. He says that after the test is over, we will erase the memories of all your classmates and your teachers, so that no one will remember the 17-year-old version of Kaizaki. He also tells him that if you tell anyone about the experiment, the test will end very quickly and you will be the same 28-year-old Kaizaki again, and you won't remember anything about these events. The next day comes and Kaizaki goes to school. In his closet, he finds a letter from Hishiro thanking him and returning his money. In gym class, when Kaizaki wants to throw a ball, his hand hurts and he can't do it well. This makes his classmates think that he is weak in sports. But we know that Kaizaki is a 27-year-old who isn't in good physical health. Kaizaki falls to the ground while running and one of his classmates takes him to the side of the ground. Now a month has passed since Kaizaki's trial, and we see Ryu investigating Kaizaki's case and everything seems to be going well. Also, we see a photo of one of Kaizaki's classmates named Karyu from Ryo's laptop screen. This girl is very jealous and upset that she couldn't get a higher score than Hishiro in the exam. It's a shame to think like that. When leaving the class, Hishiro smiles at Karyu, but Karyu misunderstands and thinks that Hishiro is making fun of her. Karyu gets very angry about this. Her anger reaches its peak when her friend leaves her in volleyball practice and goes to walk with two of her friends. When she finishes her volleyball practice and wants to go home, she sees Hishiro's bag. She's very upset and angry at how successful this girl is and getting more grades. She gets very angry and takes Hishiro's bag to hide it somewhere. Meanwhile, she meets Kaizaki. Kaizaki asks her for the address of the staff room, to which Karyu says, "I'm in a hurry and I have to go home." But Kaizaki asks her again why you have two bags. Karyu is scared and runs away, but when she is about to fall down the stairs, Kaizaki saves her, but they both fall. In the next sequence, we see Kaizaki and Karyu recovering in the nurse room. The nurse tells Kaizaki that Hishiro found you. Later, Kaizaki asks Karyu why you had Hishiro's bag in your hand. She finally confesses and says that I wanted to hide it somewhere. Kaizaki says that this is wrong, and you shouldn't compare yourself with others. Karyu cries and Kaizaki comforts her and tells her that you are a good girl, and you shouldn't hurt yourself because of others. Then Kaizaki says that Hishiro is not what you think, and that she is a good girl. Then we see Kaizaki going to Hishiro and telling her everything. Hishiro says that I will handle it myself. Kaizaki leaves, but he sneaks behind the bushes to make sure that Hishiro is okay. Suddenly Ryu comes from behind Kaizaki and scares him. Ryo says that you should get used to this and not be afraid. Meanwhile, Karyu comes and Hishiro talks to her. Karyu tells her that I hate you, and whenever I see you, you make fun of me with that smile. Hishiro is surprised and says that my smile is just like this, and I didn't mean to make fun of you. Karyu realizes that she has misunderstood all this time and apologizes to Hishiro, and the two become friends. A few days pass, and when Kaizaki wakes up, his phone rings and two of his classmates say that, "We want to come to your house." Kaizaki is helpless because he has a lot of beer cans and other things in his house that reveal his real age. He collects all the garbage and then opens the door. Onoya and Oji come to Kaizaki's house to study together. After some time, Oji's phone rings and something happens to him, so he has to leave the others alone and go. Now, Kaizaki and Onoya are alone. Ryu has a bug in Kaizaki's house and listens to their conversation. When he realizes that Kaizaki and Onoya are alone in the house, he quickly runs to Kaizaki's house to stop them if they want to extract white oil from each other. Onoya tells Kaizaki that I fell in love with you. Kaizaki is surprised at first, but then rejects her. At the same time, Ryo reaches out and prevents the disaster. Then Ryo says that Onoya is also 27 years old, and she's one of the employees of the laboratory who came to test you. Kaizaki gets upset and says that I would never do such a thing with a high school girl. They tell him that this test was just for precaution because the previous test went very badly. The next morning, during volleyball practice, a girl named Tamarai gets sick and falls, causing Karyu to slip and hurt her ankle. This injury makes her unable to practice enough for the upcoming competitions. Tamarai apologizes to Karyu, but she gets angry and shouts. Days pass and these two don't talk to each other. Two of Karyu's close friends hear Tamarai's words from the back of the door. They take Karyu to Tamarai's room to listen to her. She says that volleyball is very important for me and I have made many friends. But when I met Karyu, she made me enjoy volleyball more. When they finish talking and are about to leave, they see Karyu and her friend behind the door who overheard them. Tamarai thought that her relationship with Karyu is going to be good. But Karyu was still angry and wanted to leave. Tamarai begs her to come back to the team, but Karyu says that I already told the coach that I retired. A few days pass and the volleyball final match is coming, but Karyu is not playing. Hishiro goes after Karyu and asks her to return to the team and be friends with Tamarai. After a lot of talking, Karyu finally returns to the team and her teammates are happy to see her back, although they lose the game in the end. After some time, Orgi finally realizes that he's in love with Karyu and tells her his feelings. So these two go out together in the festival and make their relationship more official. But on the other hand, Kaizaki unintentionally falls in love with Hishiro, and it seems that Hishiro also falls in love with Kaizaki. But Kaizaki doesn't want to do anything because he is 27 years old and everyone will forget him in a while. But the thing that is discovered is that Hishiro was also a test and she's actually 27 years old. In a flashback, we see Ryu talking to Hishiro and taking her to the test. But they don't know that both of them are just in a same test, and that's why they don't express their feelings. But there is also the point that the subject's memory doesn't erased and they remember everything. In the next scene, we see Kaizaki and Hishiro sitting on the bench. Kaizaki says make many friends, and I will never forget you. Hishiro also says that I will not forget you either. These two hug each other and the movie ends here. Thank you for being with me until the end of the video. Please like the video and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And I suggest you not to miss this videos.